Yeah, live at 6:25 in the morning. Yeah, I'm up. I'm up. I'm having coffee. Well, a little bit of coffee. I'm gonna message somebody here. Yeah, I know. Shut up. Quiet. Okay. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? It's as the title of this video says. It's been 2 weeks since the last time I was out here. Yeah. What's happened? Well, a lot of stuff happened over the 4th of July. And that was one of the things I alluded to in my last video, was that I was going to be busy, but I was busier than I thought I would be. Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. So what's been happening? Well, some good, some not so good. Not great, not terrible. Okay, Conrad Dedalov. Not great, not terrible. Conrad Dedalov knows. Nothing on the job front. Nothing on the finance front. I haven't heard anything about my Social Security. I haven't heard anything. I sent off a form applying for medical disability reimbursement of a certain amount. So I'm kind of waiting to hear on those. I'm actually going to go into a Social Security office on either Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday, because I have a doctor's appointment Monday afternoon. I don't want to miss that. And find out what the hell's going on, because I did apply. I applied some months ago. The situation as it looks now is financially, I think I'll be able to cover August rent, but I won't have much in the way of living expenses for August. So beyond tight. And currently, I won't have enough for September rent. But we'll worry about September when it gets here. But right now, yeah, I won't have enough for September rent. I should be able to cover August. So there you go. Story of my life. I'm not really getting a lot of, stuff in my email box about jobs. It's mostly the same stuff all the time now. And it's like, these are jobs I've applied for the last 6 months, and I haven't heard anything. So I don't know. I have this feeling that I'm never really going to get hired for anything worthwhile anymore. So I don't even try. I really don't. I've gotten to that point in my life where I've kind of given up trying to find meaningful employment. Really have. And I actually had somebody say, why don't you try the Amazon warehouse? Oh, you mean the place where people are actually walking around in adult diapers because they're monitored by how often they have to go to the bathroom, and you're not allowed to take too many bathroom breaks or you're fired? That place? Yeah, I'd last 2 hours and be like, I gotta get off my feet. My back is hurting. Yeah, 2 hours. I'd be like, I gotta take a break. The heat's getting to me, and I gotta get off my back. Get off my feet because my back's hurting, and be like, oh, I gotta go take a piss too because I've been drinking water all day. Yeah, I wouldn't last very long. That's the thing about Amazon. It's like real life Metropolis. I mean, if you ever watched the movie Metropolis, or even the Charlie Chaplin movie Modern Times, it's sort of like that. It's just this unending hell of not stopping to do anything. I mean, you're working basically for minimum wage. Well, they're making more than that, but still, the working conditions are just pretty much hell. It's kind of like everybody rejected unions, and so we've kind of went back to the same working conditions we had essentially, more than a century ago, where companies could just basically work the fuck out of you, and you had no recourse. It was either do it or be fired. Hit the bricks. I know a lot of people bitch about unions, but a lot of people who do all this bitching about unions have never actually worked in a union. And I've been in a couple of unions, and it was a good thing I was in a couple of unions. The best one was I was in the United Auto Workers when there was these huge layoffs across the country in 1979 due to the fact that, local cars being made in this country were just not selling as well as imports. And at that time, it was Japanese imports. And at that time, I actually owned the Japanese import. Seriously, I worked for Ford Motor, and I was driving a Toyota. Yeah, and I got questioned on that a lot. And one of the questions I finally answered by saying, I work here. I see what goes off. I see what we're sending out. So, yeah. But the union lobbied the federal government to get money for laid off workers because so many had been laid off. Where I worked, we lost like nearly 40% of the workforce overnight. I mean, it went to that. And so they got what they called the Trade Readjustment Act. And I received like $15,000 in 1979 from the Trade Readjustment Act, which was big money back then. $15,000. Just to put it into perspective, my brand new 1979, which I bought in 1978 because that's how they used to do it. They would come out with the next year's model in late 78. I bought a brand new 1979 Toyota Corolla. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. I'm having troubles with my connection again. Sorry about that. Let me start over. In case you missed a whole lot of stuff here because I just had like a connection snafu. I used to work for Ford Motor when I was in the UAW, United Auto Workers, the union. I was laid off in 1979. Our plant lost about 40% of the people who were actually working there. And the union went and lobbied the federal government for aid to help us, actually like go back to school and do stuff like that. And they called it the Trade Readjustment Act. It was in response to we were losing our jobs due to competition from overseas. At that point, it was Japanese cars. And I actually owned a Toyota Corolla at that time. Yeah, 1979 Toyota Corolla, 5-speed with a moonroof. I love that. No AC. Yeah. When I look back on it now, I should have spent the extra $200, which is exactly what it was. It was like $200 more for the AC. But anyway, I was saying I got $15,000 from the Trade Readjustment Act, which in 1979 was pretty good money because my brand new 1979 Toyota Corolla, which I bought in 1978, because back then all the new models came out at once. Usually like around August and September, all the new model cars would come out. And I bought my brand new car. And this was actually kind of like a top-end car. So it was more than what you would get if you bought like a Pinto or, something like that. It was $8,600. Seriously. So really, that car nowadays, you're talking about $40,000. So if you're looking at it from that point of view, back then I received the equivalent of nearly $100,000. I would have to run it through like, and that's actually what I'm going to do right now. I was going to say I have to run it through. Oh God. I'm going to run it through an inflation calculator. So if in 1979 I purchased an item, say I have $15,000, that same item today would cost, it would be $53,000. So I got the equivalency, which shows you cars have increased a lot more than money. I got the equivalent of like $53,000 back then. And that was how I went back to school to get my degree in computer programming. Was I used that to return to school. A lot of people did. I'm sure there was a few people that kind of drank it away and smoked it away and shit like that. There were a lot of people. I think it depended on how long you worked. And in reality, I only worked at Ford Motor for 13 months, and I got $15,000 for 13 months work. So people who had been laid off, who had been working there for like 25 years, they were getting like the equivalent of like 100,000. They were getting like $100,000 and stuff, which again back then you could kind of retire on, because if you think about it, if $15,000 works out to $53,000, say about seven times that, you're actually looking at, nowadays that would be worth about $350,000, $360,000, which, back then you could actually live on that. Nowadays, probably burn through that in about, if you had a lot of bills. If you didn't have a lot of bills, you could live on it for probably 15, 20 years. If you did have a lot of bills, you'd burn through it quicker, but that's beside the point. Everything was different back then. So I'm hoping to get my Social Security. I'm hoping to get some sort of disability, something. It's really getting annoying. I'm tired of like coasting along and having to get help from people to keep moving forward. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, hate it. What am I going to do today? I have been, I won't say writing, but I have been doing a lot of editing. I've been doing a real good polish on a certain piece of work. And I do mean polish. I mean, I've really fixed it up. I've been reading through it slowly and fixing it up. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I may actually, God, what am I going to do? Make my own cover for it? And put it out somewhere? I keep saying I'm going to do this shit. I need to get off my ass and do it. Not a lot. I mean, I've been doing my writing. I haven't done a lot of writing this month for Monsters and Critics. And part of it is I just been real busy all of a sudden. And another part of it is I just don't know what to write about. I'm not one for fluff pieces. So the genre in which I work, there's not a lot of fluff pieces. And I do kind of just like go, I don't know what you want me to write. I guess I'm not a fluff piece writer. I like to get into more important things. Like snarking on about zombies and shit. Yeah. I'm the zombie snarker. Yeah. The zombie snarker. Yeah. But, maybe I'll put something out on Wattpad for everyone to read. They'll read it on their phone. I really should do something about that. I really should. Instead of keep talking about it, I should actually do something. Yep, in part, I'm having a little bit of issue with depression. I can't lie about that. In part, I'm having a bit of an issue with depression. And it just isn't motivating me to write anymore. I guess it's kind of like I see it as the same thing with my job hunt. I don't see any kind of outcome. I've taken it as far as I can go, and I don't really know how to make the next step work because it's never worked for me in the past. So it kind of puts me in a position of not wanting to do anything simply because I've tried and nothing happens. And nothing against any of my friends, but the one suggestion I got for actually putting it out there, I was like, it doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. Cutting the novel down into 5 separate novels as part of a series, and she's trying to explain this to me, and I'm actually just saying, I don't get it. I really don't get what you're saying. I'm sorry. I don't get what you're saying. You know, I understand what she is trying to tell me is that she's saying no one in their genre wants to buy a 125,000 word novel. Okay, I get it. But, and then I cut it down more and she's like, well, no one wants to read. I was like 80,000 words. I'm like, look, I can't cut this thing down any further. I'm sorry. But I am of kind of an opinion that if your attention span is so short that once you hit like 45 or 50,000 words on a novel, you just can't go on because it's too much work to keep reading. Enough. Go away. I'm sorry. But really, go away. It doesn't work that way. And that was basically what she was trying to tell me is that you need to bring the word count down to like less than 60,000. And I was going, I can't do that. I said I would have to literally like take entire chapters out to make that work. I said it's not going to work for me. So I know she's busy. She's busy writing. And that's the thing. She's writing all the time. But I couldn't get into what she was trying to offer me. It just didn't work. And I've not heard from any of the people on her end about helping me go. And I think part of it is because I really have. I've kind of pushed back on it and said, no, I don't want it. It doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, but I just don't get it. I get what you're trying to tell me, but that's not what I want to do. I'm sorry. If you're going to crash and burn on your own terms. That's the way I kind of look at it. Whoopi Goldberg said something a long time ago during an interview in 2020. And they were talking to her about her successes, of which this was like sometime in, I'd say like the mid-1990s, maybe early 1990s. I'm not real sure. It was sometime after she won the Academy Award for Ghost. I'd have to look that up. I don't know, and I'm not going to look it up. But I don't know the exact time frame. And they were talking about some of her successes, but they also talked about the fact that she had been in some tremendously huge flops. I mean, like embarrassingly ridiculous flops. And she was asked if it bothered her that she had been in these flops and in some instances her name was associated with it as like a producer or something like that. And she said, I'm of the opinion that when you go into something and it's something that you believe in, you put yourself behind it, you make it your own. If it succeeds, if it wins, that's great. But if it sucks, you still got to own it. She says, and I own it. If it sucks, I own it. It's mine. It did not do what I expected it to do, but it's still mine. I own it. So I've kind of looked at it the same way, in that if I'm not selling, okay, that's on me. So I didn't do something right. If it sells, great. If it doesn't sell, that's on me still. I own it. If you're going to crash and burn on your own terms. Just own it. Yeah. But it is kind of weird. I'm on Wattpad. My mermaid story has had 130 reads. I had some guy who just recently said he's going to become my Wattpad representative. Yeah, sure. Sure you are, dude. Here, take my money. Yeah, I think this is another case of some guys like scamming me, trying to get money or some shit from me. I should do something about the fact I need more than just one written story out there. Where am I? Mermaid. Yeah, nobody has commented on it. Nobody's even started, so F you. F you. Nobody's started my story. Bastards. Nobody has started my stories. I should write a new story. I don't know where my I don't remember how to get to that. There was a way that you could get in there and see where your stats were. I'm messing around with shit I shouldn't mess around with. Yeah, I'm just messing around. Yeah, I bitch. What I was looking for is there's supposed to be a place that shows me where I rank in terms of my tags, and I don't even see them, so I'm probably not even ranking anymore. Yeah, that's me. I don't rank for anything. What are you gonna do? So what has taken up my time? What do you think has taken up my time? Well, last Sunday I actually went to it was like a gender identity coffee shop. It was people, mostly trans people, a few of us who went and talked to the uninitiated. Actually, it wasn't the uninitiated. There were some people who were there who were transitioning. There were some people who were there who were genderqueer, gender non-binary, that sort of stuff. And we were discussing our journeys to where we arrived. And it was a lot of fun. I had a good time. That took up my Sunday. Because the woman who had invited me, she's actually rather well known in the Carlisle, Harrisburg area. She's a huge trans activist, and she's just going to run for public office. So that's nice. She's actually met with the Westboro Baptist Church, and she said that was kind of a frightening situation. But in the end, she thought she maybe shifted somebody's thoughts on what was actually going on. Maybe. I'm a little more pessimistic than she is. I'm thinking probably not. But I would have had a hard time meeting with the Westboro Baptist Church. She's real patient. I would have eventually at some point called them all a bunch of fucking hypocrites to their faces and walked out. Told them they were all a bunch of glory-seeking assholes who only wanted press. And who Jesus would beat with a bullwhip and a chair if he ever met him in person. I could, yeah, I'm not the sort of person you want to do that. As I stated before, it would be like, this is why I can't run for public office, because somebody would start spouting stuff off and I just look at them and go, everything you just said is bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why. Yeah, that would be a debate getting bleeped, because I was like, oh my God, or somebody would start doing like a Donnie and, wrong. And I'd be like, will you shut the fuck up and let me talk? Shut the fuck up or I'm going to yank your microphone from you. There would be a commotion on the stage. I'd body slam their ass. Because I know how to do that. Yeah, I could never run for public office. I don't have patience for it. I just couldn't be civil at some point. It would be like, do you realize everything this guy just said was bullshit? Yeah. Dumb. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. So anyway, but I did have a good time with that. And then, 4th of July, actually the day of the 4th of July, I binged all of Stranger Things Season 3, which is the first time I ever did that. I watched all 8 hours in pretty much, I won't say one sitting. I actually watched the first 4 hours in the morning and then took a break, had lunch, did some stuff. And then I watched 2 episodes in the afternoon, then took a nap. I had dinner and did some stuff. And then I watched the last 2 episodes before I went to bed. I think I finished up the series like right around 10 p.m. or so. Good series, better than season 2. Most people agree to that. There was this pacing in season 2 was off, and there is one episode in season 2 which even the creators of the show have said we should have never done that episode. Because it just sort of like pulled everyone out of what was happening. Which is something you're not supposed to do when you're telling a story. You're not supposed to be going along, and all of a sudden, hey, let's just go look over here at this shit, which has nothing to do with the main part of the story. It's just sort of like, I don't get it. If you can't somehow incorporate it into basic part of the story, then it doesn't really fit. But to me, it wasn't as jarring as it was for some people. If you watch season 2 of Stranger Things, you'll know what episode I'm talking about. It just felt, for me, it was part of the story, but yeah, it was done in a way that it kind of just like pulled you completely out of the main narrative. Happens. Nobody's perfect. And then January. Jeez, I wish it was January. July 3rd, I was in a 4th of July parade in Linitz, Pennsylvania. Yeah, Linitz, Pennsylvania. And I was skating. I should probably find some photos and put them on the blog and show you what it was like. Show you how we looked. But I was skating. Outdoors. On streets. It was hot. That's all I'm going to say. It was hot. Yeah. I mean, the parade started at like 6:30 p.m. Okay. The streets have had all day to soak up this heat. And they were. I mean, it was a beautiful day. We actually had a pretty nice day for both 4th of July, the 3rd of July, 5th of July. It was all real nice. The whole weekend was actually nice. We didn't get a lot of rain. They had been anticipating thunderstorms for July 3rd, but we didn't see them. I think we got some rain like late at night, real late at night. It didn't happen before I got home. But yeah, we were there. There was probably about, I don't know, a dozen of us. I'd have to go back and check. And 6 or 7 of us on skates. Yeah. And like I said, it was hot. And we're all geared up. When you go out and do something like that, you have to be fully geared. You can't avoid it. It's not only a league rule, but it's actually kind of a WUFTA rule as well. If you're at anything like that, you have to be fully geared. Because let's face it, if we're all about safety and we're out there skating around without like pads on or a helmet on, we're kind of giving the wrong impression of what we're all about. So you're fully geared up when you're out there. Yeah, like I said, it was hot. When I started out, I was one half of the team carrying the team banner. We had a big banner we were carrying at the front, and we're going real slow. It was a huge parade. It was really great. There was a lot of energy. The streets were lined with people. I mean, really, this is like, I've been in a couple of parades. This was by far the biggest parade I've been in. It even felt bigger than the Harrisburg parade. If that's possible, it actually felt bigger than the Harrisburg parade that I've been in, that I walked in. They wouldn't let me. Well, I skated in a Paxton parade. There was a comment made by a former teammate about my skating in that parade, and I related that story to a couple of my teammates when we were preparing for the Linnets parade, and they both looked at me like, "Oh my God, are you kidding? She actually said that?" I said, "Yeah," and I said it took like every ounce of willpower I had not to go over and smack her. But it was a workout. It really was. We had to go through an area where there was construction, so there's stones all over the road. And even in your outdoor wheels, you're hitting stones. I mean, stones that are about that big will throw you. And of the people who went down, and I went down actually, it was we caught our wheels on large size stones. And there was also sand. There were potholes and sand in the road. It was like, oh my God, we had to go through that. And the person who organized it, she was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't think we were going to go down that way." And it's like, it's cool. We got down. And we had to go over a railroad track, which we did on our toe stops. That was kind of cool because everybody on skates just comes up to the track and we go up on our toe stops and walk over the railroad tracks and then get back on our wheels. But it was hilly. I mean, not like huge hills, but you had to skate up them and skate down them. And there was a lot of going up, and there was a lot of plowing and stuff coming down. And you got to work out. Somebody actually asked me, they said, "How far did we skate?" And I worked it out, and I said, it was only 2.7 miles. And she said, it really felt like it was a lot further than that. I said, that's because there were several stretches where you were holding a plow quite a bit. You were either plowing or you were going off to the side and doing a transition stop so you could hand out flyers and everything. I said, yeah, it gave us a workout. But one of our teammates, the one who organized it, she had her car all decorated up, and it was behind us, and she had the hatchback open. It's a little hatchback, and she had the door open so we could go back there. We had candy we were handing out, except we did the cool thing. We waited and like after we got through like part of the parade because everybody was throwing their candy out early. And she had told us, save the candy for the end because the kids at the end rarely get any candy because it's all gone by that time. And we saved our candy till the end and then started passing it out. And yeah, that was cool. We were like one of the few people toward the end who was actually throwing out candy. And Deadpool was doing that, and she was skating her butt off, going back and forth across the street. But we had flyers back there. We were handing out a lot of flyers, and we had water back there because you needed to hydrate. And about halfway through, I started getting woozy because part of it was, like I said, I was carrying the banner to start with, and you're going real slow. Everybody else in the back who's handing out flyers and tossing candy, they're moving around constantly. So you're generating kind of a breeze. I'm just moving slowly. And every time we come to a stop and have to get started again, my wheels were catching these little divots in the road. And you don't realize it until you're out there on wheels that there's all these little imperfections and stuff in the roads. So I finally got to the point where I'd have to get down and push off with my toe stop to get going. So we were going up this long hill, and the parade came to a stop, and I was starting to get woozy at that point. I mean, I could feel the heat exhaustion coming on. A guy on the side of the road whose house was there, he was handing out water. And he said, "Do you want a bottle of water?" And I said, "Yes." And I downed it right away. And then finally I went over to the car, which we had been told if you get too hot, we'll use it as a cooling center. And I said, "Look, I gotta take a couple here." And I got in the car. And fortunately, like I said, the parade stopped at that point. It was such a long parade. I don't know what was going on. But I was actually able to stop and cool off for probably about 5, 6, maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. And it helped. And the temperature inside the car, there was a temperature gauge that gave the outside temperature. And it said 95. There my video froze for a second. The temperature inside the car, the outside temperature gauge for the car said it was 95 outside. And I said, I think a lot of that was actually the road. Because when I got out of the car, I opened the door and I stuck my head out of the car, and you could just feel the heat blasting up off the road. It was like that. It had just soaked up all the heat. But after water and after resting and getting cooled off and stuff, in fact, I even got to the point where I took my helmet off and I took my wig off. I said, my head is starting to bake. And then I skated around. And once you get skating, I was much better actually skating because you could kind of generate a breeze while you're doing that. Plus, you get excited. You're talking to people. I was doing stuff. I was, coming up and skating up to people and transition stopping in front of them. And at one point, there was a bunch of people up in their lawn on the other side of the sidewalk. And I went up in the driveway and onto the sidewalk and come to a stop in front of them. And you could tell they were all like, ooh, shocked that I would actually do that. But, it was great. We had such a great time. Everybody, it was fabulous. I didn't get home until about 10 o'clock. And I didn't go to practice that night. Even though I brought my gear and I was like, maybe I'll go to practice. And then, no, I'm not going to practice. I'm too tired. And I'm sore. And I had my outdoor wheels on. And the way we were looking at it, it would be like, I could get to practice in 15 minutes. But by the time I got back to my car, it was 9:12. So it's going to be almost 9:30 when I walk into place. And by the time I swap out my wheels, it's going to be 9:40. I'm going to get 10 minutes of practice before everybody de-gears and goes home. So I was like, I'm going home. You just got yourself a workout. You don't need to go practice. So I didn't. And then there was no practice on the 4th of July. So the last practice I went to was last Sunday. And that was, I told Punk was a coach. And I told her, this is the first time I have not shown up for practice in a week and a half. And that is the first time for me since joining DDR. And even she was kind of like, what? I said, yeah, I have not been to practice for a week and a half. And it was hot. The Dutch oven is living up to its reputation. We have been sweating buckets. And when I did the 4th of July parade, I drank one of those huge 55-ounce bottles of water on top of another 12-ounce bottle of water. That's how much water I consumed. It was like almost 70 ounces of water. And I hydrated well before I even went. So last Sunday I went, and oh my God, I didn't hydrate well, and I felt it. It was just, I had no energy. So really tonight, and I know this is kind of a bad thing to do before you go to bed, but I'll start hydrating. I'll probably drink 40 ounces of water before I go to bed, and then try to drink another 20 when I get up, so that when I go to practice, I've at least got 60 ounces of water in me. I have actually gotten back to the habit of drinking 80 to 100 ounces of water before going to practice, which is what I did Wednesday and Thursday night, and you could feel the difference. Dehydration was not setting in right away. And we did. Last 2 nights of practice, we just sweat like mad. Oh, God. It was horrible. It is. You just sweat. In fact, it was so bad Thursday night. The majority of us just we're down to our leggings and sports bras. It was. And we were doing some hitting drills, and somebody said, do you think we should put our tank tops back on? I go, I'm not. I don't care if I'm making skin-on-skin contact with people. As it was, we were sliding off each other sometimes because everybody was so sweaty. But I got through it. Came to realize a couple of things. And one of those is I need to hit harder. I really do. When we were doing some hitting on Sunday, and it was kind of funny because Punk was a coach, and I was actually the only other one there who had been on a travel team. We were the 2 vets. And we were doing a timing drill where you had to come over and hit people. So you got one person who's a jammer, one person who's a blocker, and you come over and you hit. And her and I were teamed up at one point. It was the first time we were teamed up, and I took off, and she went into me hard. And, she hit me and knocked me out of bounds, but didn't knock me down. And the funny thing is, we're both looking at each other after it's done, yeah, that was a great hit, That was. And I even said something, I was like, that's the kind of stuff I'm missing. That was a good hit. I missed that. And we hit again. I think she hit me because she was hitting me harder than I was hitting her, but she hit me, and you get to even hear that flap of skin on skin contact. And she even said, "Hey, I heard that." We got that fap in there, and I was like, "Yeah, that was pretty cool." And my hitting, a couple of times I've been jamming. I'm just not going in and hitting people. I'm not hitting them as hard as I should hit them. And this all goes back to that. I need to work on my controlled aggression. But after I got done with practice on Thursday night, I was kind of like sitting there thinking, why weren't you hitting these people harder? Because they're hitting you hard. A couple of times I got hit pretty hard. And when we were scrimmaging Wednesday night, and there was like the vets of us were out there, the ones of us who have played on travel teams, and we were going at it pretty hard at one point. And it was funny because I woke up Thursday morning and I was sore all over. And I even posted that on my wall. I was like, what the hell did we do last night? I'm sore all over. And Dash, who had been a Wednesday night, she's responded, oh, okay, it's not just me, because I didn't think we did anything that intense and I'm crazy sore, you know? And I said, I think that there was those last few jams that we were out there together. We were blocking a lot harder than I think we figured we were. And we were. It was a couple of them was we just got insanely crazy with blocking and holding the wall and everything else. And I said, I think that was it. I go, you know, most of the night we didn't think we were doing anything real hard. And then toward the end there, we just like turned it off, you know, just we turned it all the way up like it was for points. And yeah, that's when you started to feel it. But, oh, God, yeah, it was crazy. Same thing with Thursday night. I came home yesterday morning. I woke up and I was like, and I've got bruises. I've got a fading bruise here on my arm. I have this big bruise on my lower abdomen. I have no idea how I got this. And I have a wheel bruise on my butt from Wednesday night. I got my skate hooked and it got yanked out from underneath me, and I went down and I landed on my other skate wheel. You know, my one of my legs came underneath me and I landed on top of the wheel. And so there's this crescent shaped bruise on my butt from where I hit the skate wheel. Yeah. Yeah, derby players get those. You go down, you fall on your wheel. Wow. Doom had a bruise like that. She fell on somebody else's wheel, and she had a big bruise on her behind from where she did that. Mine, I fell on my wheel, and I've got a little crescent-shaped bruise like that on my butt. But it's been fun. But after Sunday's practice, I decided, you know, travel team practice is going to start up here at the end of the month. And I felt like my endurance was down. I didn't have any energy. So Monday and yesterday, I started hitting Planet Fitness because I have a membership there. And I started going to Planet Fitness, and I've been doing cardio and some strength, mostly leg strength. But yesterday I actually did a chest press. Develop all your muscles, because I'm using my upper body for stuff. And I need to do stuff to work on my core as well. But I've been doing the leg press because I want to get that strength in my thighs and in my quad and in my calves. But yesterday I did 62 minutes of cardio. I did 12 minutes on the stair climber. I did 25 minutes on the recumbent bike. And then I did 25 minutes on the treadmill. And on the stair climber, I climbed the equivalent of 27 flights, 27 floors. And then bicycled 5.5 miles. And then on the treadmill, it was like I walked 1.2 miles, something like that. Yeah. And then did strength in between. I did a leg press. I did leg extension. And I did chest press. So now my routine is going to be to actually try to get in to do some workout like on Monday. I don't know about this Monday, simply because I have a doctor's appointment. And there's a possibility that what I'll do is after my doctor's appointment, I may hit a Planet Fitness out in Lancaster and do my workout there before coming home. Because it makes sense. Because I'll already be in Lancaster and I know where the Planet Fitness is in Lancaster and I can use I can use it there. So I just go in and do my thing. And I've been spending, I spent an hour on cardio and probably 30, 40 minutes, probably about 30 minutes on strength. And then with the sit-in and everything else, another, 30 minutes cooling down, getting water, that sort of stuff. It's been coming out to about 2 hours. And like I said, I'm getting ready for travel team. It's time to start getting back into shape. Time to start building up the endurance, building up my strength. And one of the things I want to start doing now is I want to start hitting harder. I have to start working on that. And part of that is my own confidence. I'm not confident enough that I can deliver a strong hit and not blow it. I know I can deliver a strong hit because I've done it. It's just, there's times when it's like, when I got to think about it, I keep tripping myself up. So it's that controlled aggression I've always talked about. You have to know how to play with controlled aggression. You have to be aggressive, but you have to control it. You can't be crazy wild. Crazy wild will get you hurt, or it'll get somebody else hurt, or it'll get you both hurt. That happens. And part of the reason for this is not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. I'm doing an open scrimmage in York. They said it's going to be all skill levels, but you look at the roster. I know who's on the York All-Star team, and the majority of the players who are on the York All-Star team are on that roster. And then after I signed up for it, Dash put a notice out there. She said, I think Nomi signed up for this, and I'm going to it. So there's like 10 of us from DDR who are going out there too. And the two, York and DDR, are by far the two largest groups that are going out there together. And yes, a lot of all-stars from New York are going out. So it's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of people. I think what they'll do is just divide us up and they'll hockey line us. It'll be like we got 20 on each side, just get in the hockey line and send 5 people out at a time. So that'll actually be kind of good because then you're only going out like once every 4th jam or so. Yeah. It'll give you a chance to like talk about what's going on and rest up if you need it. Yeah. Going out. Be good. Once every 3rd jam, once every 4th jam, go out. And if you want to take a break, you can do that too. I'm nervous about it. I really am. Because this is, I'm going to be out there with people who know me. I mean, really, they do. They know me. And it's going to be an extra level scrimmage, I think. It's going to be like playing our All-Stars, except I actually look at it like it's going to be like an all-star scrimmage. It really is. It's going to be like you're getting thrown into an all-star scrimmage. And you just got to keep up. That's going to be the thing. I got to keep up. So I'm working. But I do have to see the doctor on Monday. I need to renew my prescriptions for Sparrow and for estrogen. They're out. I'm almost out of pills. And I am going to get a prescription for high cholesterol. My lab work showed I have high cholesterol. No surprise there. I've always had high cholesterol. I think actually I'm genetically predisposed for high cholesterol because I've been on diets to lower my cholesterol, and no, it never worked. The only thing that ever lowered my cholesterol was being on meds. Of course, the one time that happened, it was when I was working at Solaire, and they had a wellness program going. And if you passed all the criteria, you got a huge deduction on your medical insurance. It was like a 25% deduction on your medical insurance. And the only people who passed were people who worked in HR. There were like 6 people in the entire company who passed. And it was like all of them were in HR. And they even came back, and the one that killed everyone was they said, well, your cholesterol is high. Nearly everyone had high cholesterol. I said, look, I eat fish and vegetables constantly. I'm not eating a lot of fatty food. Well, your cholesterol is high. Really? And nobody who got the discount had high cholesterol. All of you people who are actually in control of this, none of you had high cholesterol. I'm really surprised by that. I wasn't the only one who was surprised. I seem to recall that eventually there was such a stink raised about it because when people found out who actually got the discount, they were like, this sounds like a scam. It sounds like you scammed yourselves into getting this discount. They dropped it. They were like, okay, we're not going to do this. But yeah, I think I might be genetically predisposed for high cholesterol. And I've been on meds before, and it's amazing what those cholesterol medications will do. They'll drop your cholesterol. I read a story once about a guy who was on Lipitor, and they said he went into the doctor and they said, you got high cholesterol, and they put him on Lipitor. And he said the only problem was he was living with these 2 other dudes in a house. And their idea of food was, he said, every freaking night it was like steaks. He said we were just constantly eating red meat and baked potatoes with sour cream and butter. He said the whole 9 yards. He said it was like this every night. You really didn't have an opportunity to eat healthy. So he was just kind of like, screw it, There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to cook my own food. I'm just going to eat what's there. And when I go back to see the doctor in a month, he's going to give me hell for not having lowered my cholesterol. And he says he goes in and he does his lab work and he meets up again with the doctor. And the doctor's like, hey, your cholesterol looks really good. Keep it up. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. And he said, man, those meds, that Lipitor must just really work. And I noticed that for me too. I didn't even change my diet. And when I went on, I don't think I was on Lipitor. I think I was on there's another medication. And my cholesterol dropped dramatically. Even doctors like, yeah, this is really good. Keep doing what you're doing. Well, what I'm doing is I'm taking the meds. I'm not doing anything else. And apparently my med work also shows I'm like on the edge of being pre-diabetic. I don't have diabetes, but my lifestyle is such that it could go that way. But because I exercise so much, the doctor is not going to recommend any changes in my lifestyle because she knows I'm getting a lot of exercise. Because she knows I play derby. Because when she looked at my legs, and she looks at my legs and looks up at me, and she sees all the bruises and stuff on my legs, and she's like, I know, you play roller derby. Yeah, I do. I'm going to show her my bruising. You want to see my bruise on my lower abdomen? You want to see this, Doc? Want to see that? I wonder if she'll want to see the bruise on my butt. Doc, look at this. I got a bruise. This is where I fell on my skate wheel. But where was I last Saturday? Because I didn't do a video. Last Saturday, yeah. Last Saturday, I went down to the Be More Classic in Laurel, Maryland, where I had went the year before. In fact, today is the anniversary of when I went down there for the first time to skate with Lacey Knight, world champion pivot. And a great woman. I like her. I love her a lot. But yeah. I know my Facebook memories will show all these photos that I took down there. And I watched a lot of Derby. I watched like 4 bouts. So real good teams. I saw Boston. I saw Buffalo. I saw Madison, Wisconsin. I saw a team from Ottawa, Canada. I saw the DC Roller Girls play. Bought a shirt, bought a t-shirt, bought a tank top, actually. A strong athletic grown-ass woman. And talked to the person who was selling them, who's Smarty Pants, who I have actually taken a clinic with her. And she'd even told me when I bought the Strong Athletic Queer tank top from her at ECDX, she told me down at the Be More Classic, she says, I kind of recognized you. I was wondering if you'd been in one of my clinics. And I said, yeah, I was in a clinic when I was with Hard, and you came out and did Hard. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah. And she says, I thought you looked familiar. I said, well, kind of hard not to remember me. As it was like, I wanted to tell her, yeah, yours was like the first clinic I got through the whole way. I got through all of Lacey Knight's, which that was a 3-hour clinic, and it was rough. And I was one of like 12 players who stuck it out to the end. And it was really funny because toward the end there, I was talking to this one player who was from Southern Maryland Roller Derby. And both her and I were like, why the fuck are all these women out of gear and sitting down? This is Lacey Knight. Why are you not out here playing? And I think it was because the last like hour it was just like insane hitting. It was bout day. It was just like Lacey said, it's bout day, ladies. And there was like 12 of us. So you're going out like every other time, or sometimes you were just staying in like 2-3 times in a row until you couldn't take it anymore. And I felt proud. I actually made it to the end. I did. It was just like once the adrenaline got pumping, once you got over your fear of everything that was happening and you did all this stuff, it was like, oh my God, I'm out here. I'm having a good time. I'll never forget that night. I had such a great time. Yeah, that'll show up on my Facebook memories today because I did take photos for that. But yeah, I went down for Be More Classic, ran into some people I knew, ran into actually a lot of people I knew, ran into some people I actually played with at a Battle of the Freshies. In fact, one of the women who, God, what was she with? I can't remember. I think she was with Free State. Yeah, she was with Free State. She talked to me a bit. She says, I remember you from Battle of the Freshies. I said, I do too. You were on, I said, I think you were on Team Yellow. And she's like, yeah. And we both were saying, we've noticed that there's a couple of people here playing who were at Battle of the Freshies. Talk to that. And then a couple of people were like, so when's your team play? Because I'm down there in my Dutchland shirt, and I'm like right on the edge of the track. I mean, literally, I got into a place where I was right next to one of the benches, and I was right next to the track because that's the way I am. And I'm like, I'm just here to watch. They're like, your team's not playing? I'm like, no, my team's on summer break right now, so we're not playing. And, Wednesday Night Dash was asking me, how was the tournament? And I was telling her the things I saw and some of the things that I picked up on in terms of what you're noticing teams are now doing. And I told her, I said, everybody was asking me when I was getting ready to play. And she was like, yeah, that's why I don't go to tournaments. Because after about 15 minutes, I'm like, I want to be out there playing. I was going, yeah, I want to do that too. I said the whole time, I was like, why can't I be out there playing? But it was fun. That was why I left out of here at 6 o'clock in the morning last Saturday to drive down the Laurel. I did not get back here until like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Yeah, it was a crazy long day for me. And it was hot. Everybody was complaining about how warm it was in the tournament area, but it was a lot of fun. Be More Classic, it's all for B teams. And oh God, you're talking about like some of the best B teams in North America. But I think Ottawa, Canada, and I think Madison, Wisconsin actually came about the furthest to get there. Boston ended up winning it all. They were really good. They had a couple of jammers who just strong and fast. And it was like I said, one of the things I noticed was the Madison especially had some really big jammers. They had a lot of those big Midwestern girls, which we're known for back there. Because I am from the Midwest, and oh man, they would just like blow through the line. They'd hit the line and go. They were just like really powerful. Except Boston had the same things, and it ended up being Boston and Madison at the end. Or what? No, it was Boston and Queen City. Queen City kind of had the same thing as well. Queen City had a real solid defense. Madison ended up getting third, and they had won it last year. So Madison ended up getting third. Queen City got second. Queen City, they were the Queen City Sub-Zero Sirens. And I was a track manager at ECDX for when their A team, the Lake Effect Furies, played Chicago. And I did see one of the players from Queen City, and I said, I have to tell you, you guys have the coolest logos for your team jerseys. I said, I was the manager for ECDX when your Lake Effect Furies played. And I said, I love their logo, but I said, I really love it. Theirs is like a Medusa. It really is. A Medusa with like a hat on. And I said, you guys have like the coolest logos. And she's like, thank you. That's really nice to say. I said, yeah, I just like them. Not that I don't like my logo, but yeah, they got some cool logos. So it was good. It was fun. So that was why I wasn't out here last week. And I didn't do a video on Sunday because by the time I went to practice and got back here, it was 3 p.m. I was tired as hell. I was all dehydrated. So, yeah, that's why there was a 2-week wait. I'm sure some of you were waiting to hear from me. Anyway, it was all good. I miss you guys. So, I'll be back. I should be back next Saturday. We'll see. But everyone take care. Have fun. And, hey, try to stay cool because it's hot out there. I'll talk to you later. Bye.